Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. They're gonna go out to see what things came out today, see what things are on sale. I know the Criterion sale has just started up. I think it goes to like the very end of the month. I'm pretty sure, you know, at the 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble. So I'm gonna probably go there in like a week or two because there's one thing that comes out for that isn't out yet that I definitely want to get. So I'm gonna wait for that. But let me know below how long that goes. I saw something like the first week of August, and I saw the very end of this month. So I'm not 100% certain how long that goes. Also going to go to a thrift store too as well today, and also at the end of this video going to have a few new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some movies I received to review and talk about for you guys. And also I want to make a mention too, if any of you guys are going to be at the D23 Disney convention, I'm going to be there, you know, this Saturday, walking around and stuff. So if you guys see me there, you know, definitely say hello. Also want to make sure to mention as well, next week, you know, I'm going to be at Comic-Con. I mentioned it in the video next Tuesday as well, but I'm going to be there, you know, probably Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday doing videos and stuff. But anyway though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And like I was saying though, I'm going to be at Comic-Con next week, you know, probably like I said, preview night, and then Friday and Saturday. And let me know though if there's anything at Comic-Con you guys want me to show, like any exclusives to look for, any of that kind of stuff while I'm there, because I usually do like the preview night video and then like a tour video. So let me know in the comments below. I'm going to ask this as well next week, but anything you guys would like to see me show at the convention. And the big release that came out today was, you know, the Fast and Furious 8, the Fate of the Furious, and I actually thought this was actually a pretty fun movie. I've only seen like the last 3 films, but they have in here a deluxe limited edition one here, a limited deluxe edition of the movie, which comes with a collectible cinch sack, so like a little Fast and Furious like bag thing in here. So that's pretty cool. That limited edition one is $19.99 for that edition, so pretty much the exact same price as the standard Blu-ray. They also have a 4K edition, but it looks like that one is sold out for that one, and that's $27.99. But other than that, that's pretty much one of the only really big releases that came out in here today. Into the Valley thrift store we go. And it looks like they're really well stocked up in here. It seems like there's definitely a bunch of new stuff in here, like all on the bottom and stuff. I haven't been in here in like maybe a month or so, so I have to look through all this and see if there's anything in here out of print or different. But like I said, it's been a while since I was in here. Like the last couple of times, it was really picked over and didn't look like they changed out too much, but now it seems like they finally got some new stuff in here, so I'm gonna have to look through all this and see what we can find. And someone in here put this in here. I guess they thought this was a DVD at first, and it's just like a makeup kit thing in here. Like I said though, there's definitely a lot of different things in here today that I've definitely not seen the past while, because like I mentioned, like last time it's been really picked over and not much new in here, so I hadn't really been coming back as much. Seems like a bunch of different TV shows as well. This is one I never really watched, this NYPD Blue. That's pretty cheap for the whole season of this one. Somehow I never saw any episodes of this entire show. But yeah, there's a lot of really random, I don't know what this is, it's Monkey Time. Definitely a bunch of like really random stuff in here today. This is one I still can't believe doesn't have a Blu-ray release. I always love this movie. I think I saw something about them remaking this. This is one of those movies that I feel like you don't hear about it as much. And like, I always loved, you know, Eugene Levy and John Candy in this. I don't know, this is just a really fun movie. And like I said, you don't hear people talk about this one that often anymore. I remember like when this show was on, like when this first came on, I was like obsessed with this show. Like for some reason, like I watched every season of this thing. But everything is looking relatively common in here, but I've got to look at all the stuff on the bottom too, just to make sure there's nothing out of print in here. And they definitely did get in a bunch of new stuff in there, and I looked through here, I found a couple decent things, nothing like really valuable or anything, but like this one I got is a Amanda Bynes movie, which I've never actually seen, and I always come across the full screen edition of it, but for $2, you know, What a Girl Wants, it's like one of the only Amanda Bynes movies I've never seen. Then I found for $3 this one William H. Macy movie called Door to Door, and I remember watching that on TV, and he was like a door-to-door salesman, and the last one I got was Perfect Score, which is another one you always come across across the full screen edition of this one, never the widescreen. I hated that, you know, I remember when they first were doing that, you always had to make sure you got the widescreen one and didn't screw it up and got it. But this parking lot is always super busy, so got to get out of there. But I did find these ones in there, and there were some other out-of-print stuff as well in there, but a lot of stuff I had already had. Into Deborah's next to new consignment shop we go. And it looks like over here they might have some new movies in here, so we'll have to see. This place always kind of knows the prices of stuff, so they kind of mark them up a little bit, because I think they check a lot of them. That's the one thing, is a lot of places always really check the prices of stuff. And a lot of thrift stores too, you never really know how often they change out their stuff, or how they even get it, because I don't know if it's like people bringing stuff in or how it is a lot of these places. But always just gotta check. I try and come to some of these places like at least once a month or every other month or so, just to see, because you never know what you're gonna find in these places. I always like this movie, and this is one of those movies I always know, you know, is really not great at all, and it's like really bad. Like the suits in here, like the monkey suits, are kind of like really look like suits. But I always love this movie for some reason. I don't know. It was always like, when as a kid, I watched that one so many times. Even though, like, even as a kid though, I knew it wasn't a great movie at all. But it seems to be pretty much the same stuff I've seen in here in the past while. Like a couple of different things, but mostly seems to be a lot of common stuff. But this was a weird thing. I remember like when Asylum made this line, which was like making Christian films, and they made a Sunday school musical. It was kind of like a religious Christian version or something of High School Musical. I never watched that, but I remember when they did this. I don't think this line is around anymore. Like, I think this is like one of the few movies they actually made for that line. And the only movie I saw this past weekend, you know, was Spider-Man Homecoming, and I really liked all the Spider-Man films. I feel like, though, Sam Raimi's, the first Spider-Man film that Sam Raimi directed, I feel like that was like the ultimate Spider-Man movie, like, especially Tobey Maguire in that role. I really liked him in it. He was a little old when they cast him, though, so like in the sequels, he was definitely starting to look a little old for the role, but like in the first one, he really was like the ultimate Spider-Man. But this, though, for an actual movie, I think is the best of all the Spider-Man films, and this one kind of made the Amazing Spider-Man films, both of those ones, look kind of goofy and ridiculous. Like, this one, I felt like everything about this was done well, like with the casting, with actually had, like, you know, younger kids playing the part, like no one that was like kind of too old or really looked old for the part. I thought Tom Holland, you know, who was playing, you know, Spider-Man Peter Parker, I thought he did a really good job in this, and really, really is good in the role as, you know, Peter Parker and as the Spider-Man character as well, like worked really well in both parts. But I overall really love this, and love too seeing Michael Keaton in this playing the villain. It was kind of cool because, you know, years ago he played Batman, so to see him as a superhero and now as a villain was a really cool thing, and I thought that was a really cool aspect. And like I said too, the casting in this was really cool. They got really cool, you know, pretty relevant people in this one. Definitely though, if you guys have seen Spider-Man Homecoming, you know, let me know what you guys thought of it, but I really, really like that one a lot. Definitely, I think it's probably, like I said, out of all the Spider-Man movies, definitely the best one. Even though I still love the original Spider-Man movie, you know, with Tobey Maguire, I know that this one was, at least to me, felt like a better movie all around. Into Walmart we go. And in Walmart, they have a bunch of exclusive editions of The Fate of the Furious. But the exclusive on here, it includes over 30 minutes of exclusive bonus content. So I'm guessing that that is on a separate disc in here. I'm not sure if that's digitally as well. But that one is $26.96 for the 4K and $19.96 for the standard Blu-ray edition. And they also have the regular one of it as well. And then this one, I think this is probably everywhere. I don't think this is exclusive to Walmart, but it's this edition. Has an exclusive collectible t-shirt of the movie. Oh no, this is the 8 movie collection. So this is, oh yeah, because I was thinking it was $69. I'm like, wouldn't be that for just the shirt. But this is all 8 of the films together, as well as this 8 movie collection, which looks like they only have the DVD for the 8 movie collection if you want just the DVD one, because you have to get this limited edition one for, you know, the Blu-ray edition. but that's $59.99 for the DVD. And they also have an exclusive edition here of the Smurfs, the Lost Village, and this is like in a lunchbox movie gift set. I think the main thing in here is the lunchbox. They haven't done a lunchbox edition of something in a while. I think one of the last ones was Jurassic World, but these are always kind of cool. This is $22.96 for this one, so it's $3 more for the lunchbox edition of this one. They also have in here this 3-movie collection, which has all the Smurf movies together on Blu-ray, and that one's $29.96. And one of the other things that came out today was the second season of the TV show Underground, and then they have a double pack edition here as well, which has both seasons together for $29.96. One of the other things I thought was today, but I don't see it anywhere, was a Tom and Jerry thing that was like Tom and Jerry going into Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but that might have been next week. I'm not 100% certain, but it looked like a really weird type thing. And one of the other things that came out today I wanted to make sure to mention was The Devil's Domain. It's one movie that was produced by David Slinger was one of the producers on it, and Jared Cohn directed it. And it's like a movie all about bullying, this girl that gets bullied, and I actually play a bully in the movie, and the small part is a bully. It's kind of different for me playing a bully, but that came out today on DVD and Blu-ray, and you can get that like on Amazon, Bestbuy.com, all those places. And I'll show it too as well. As soon as I have a copy, I'll hold it up and show you guys as well for that one. Into Best Buy we go. And in here though, they have an exclusive one for the Fate of the Furious. This exclusive only a Best Buy Steelbook one of that. So that's a pretty cool release here. That one's $22.99. It's $19.99 for the regular one. And then they have, I think this is like a new cover on the Fast and Furious 6, or maybe it just came to 4K, I think. I don't know for certain. And then they also have in here as well the 4K edition. This is actually the past film, so I think these might have come out today, these 4K ones of some of the other sequels. And then their edition of the 8-movie collection is $69.99 for that one. This is another pretty cool thing they have in here for the Fifth Element. They have a Fifth Element, and this was released before this Pop Art Steelbook, but only for the Blu-ray. But this is the 4K edition of the Fifth Element, and that's only $19.99 for that one. So that's actually a really good price for 4K and for being a Steelbook. But really, I talked about this film, like I believe it was last week. But this is such a great movie. Really, really great 4K film too. And they also have Leon the Professor, and this one I believe it actually is only, I guess you can only get this 4K one at Best Buy up until October, it looks like. So then that one's $22.99 for that one. But so this one is actually a really good price though for the 4K Steelbook of this one. But both of these are really, really great films. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, guys, enjoy these shopping videos. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video is the original Pulse film. This is a super creepy movie. They made a remake to this movie, I think in 2006, and the remake was okay. And they also made I think 2 sequels to the remake. I don't know if this film, if the original, if they made a lot of sequels or not. But this is around the time, this was like a couple years after The Ring, Ring U, and then right before The Grudge. But it was around that time when they were making a lot of those super creepy Asian horror films that were just some of the ones really creeped me out. This one, The Grudge, I found to be always the creepiest ones, especially the thing with The Grudge with that kid when they're in the cops, the investigation office, and she's talking to the cops, and you see that kid standing over. I don't know, these movies always really creep me out. This one all deals with a haunted website where people are going to, and it's kind of becoming a big thing, and it's if you want to see a ghost, go to this website to see a real ghost. And of course though, this movie deals with people who go to this site, things start to happen to them. It's about a group of people trying to figure out exactly what's happening to some of their friends and people that they work with are kind of going missing. And it also deals a whole lot with people that are killing themselves, and also some really, really dark, sad subject matter, but a really, really well done creepy movie. Super creepy images in this one. If this is one of those movies, if you want to see something that really creep you out, this is on the level of, like I said, with the original Grudge, with movies like Session 9. That's like some of those movies that I have a hard time watching because they really creep me out. It has on here, though, a high definition transfer, new high definition transfer on this one, as well as interviews here with the director on this, interview with the cinematographer, an video appreciation thing with Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, who wrote Blair Witch and You're Next, and Adam Wingard directed You're Next, and it's them talking about the film, as well as an original making of, documentary on here. And then inside, here's a look at inside the discs. And it has the reversible artwork as well. And this is a pretty cool image of this for this one. And it also has in here a booklet about the movie, some pictures and then facts about the making of the film. But a very, very creepy movie. Like I said, this one always really creeped me out. Definitely on the level with The Grudge, but this one, though, was before The Grudge. The next one here from Lionsgate is a movie called Free Fire, and this one I was really interested in seeing. The director of this one did he did that one movie recently called High Rise, and then I think Sightseers. And this movie is called Free Fire. This has a really good cast in this one. Brie Larson is in this one. Cillian Murphy. And it's basically, though, about a group of these. It's like two different gangs of people, and these. One is like from Boston. They all go to this factory in the middle of like the middle of nowhere to buy these guns, and it's going to be like a normal thing. And what's kind of funny about it too is they open up the briefcase and they only have like a bunch of $10 bills, so it's probably only like $1,000 in this briefcase. But things go really, really wrong. It's pretty much just the group that are going to this warehouse to buy the guns. But then something ends up happening because someone who's there got in a fight the night before with somebody, from the other gang, because of what they did to this girl that they knew. And then it becomes this total nightmare situation of them in there because, like, one of them shoots the one, and it's all kind of like them both on the one side or the other in this, terrible situation of them not knowing what they're going to do. And they're like shooting at each other, and then it's like more and more problematic issues come along as it goes along. And that's essentially what it is. It's basically just them in there trying to figure out how they're going to get out of there and not all get killed, and if there's any sort of resolution to this entire situation that is kind of going out of hand and getting crazier and crazier as it goes along. It's a pretty fun movie. Like I said, it's got a really good cast in here. Armie Hammer is in this one as well. Like I said, Brie Larson and Cillian Murphy. But I don't know. I really thought this was actually a pretty cool, different kind of movie, all set pretty much in one place with them just kind of trying to figure out how they're going to get through this situation here. Has, though, a commentary track on here with the director as well as a making of on the movie. The next one here from Welgo USA, and this is one I really wanted to see. It stars Rami Malek from Mr. Robot. It's a movie called Buster Mal Heart, and this is a really interesting movie. It's basically, it kind of shows in the beginning, it starts with the beginning of the movie. You see Rami Malek's character. He's got a big beard. He's like kind of living out in the middle of the woods, and you see all these cops kind of chasing him to he's kind of going hiding out in this mountain kind of cave. And then it kind of cuts to, I think like a couple years before, and it's kind of like showing you back and forth between him out there now and then kind of what led up to like 10 days before, and then years back before, kind of what led up to this happening, to this situation with him, with the cops after him. And Rami Malek's character is like this guy who's like married and he has a kid and he's very happy, but things in his life are kind of starting to get kind of weird because he's working at a hotel. He's not really that happy with his situation with working, and DJ Qualls' character comes to the hotel and he's kind of nuts, and he's like talking to him. He's like a drifter, and he's staying at the hotel and talking to Remy's character about like all these weird things and about how he's not part of the system and he kind of doesn't have an ID or any of this because he doesn't conform to the system, and kind of starts talking to him and telling him all these crazy things. And it's kind of like starts to kind of like make Rami Malek's character kind of nuts, like the stuff that he's saying. And then some really crazy stuff happens in this movie. But his character in the beginning of the movie, you find out, though, is, like I said, he's a drifter, and he's like staying in people's houses when they're not around. It's a really, really interesting odd movie. I really like this one. It's it's one of those things that you can't. There's not really much you can compare this to. It's a really like its own kind of entity type film. But I really like this one. It has on here though deleted scenes on this one. But if you guys are a fan of Remy, like I love him on Mr. Robot, definitely one to check out. The next one here from Full Moon is the newest Blu-ray release of the Puppet Masters. This one is The Curse of the Puppet Master. This is one that I think when I was watching this, I feel like this is probably the first Puppet Master movie I ever saw, because I think this came out in like 2000, I mean, no, in 1998, and I really distinctly remember renting this one from Hollywood Video when it first came out, and I like this one. The one thing about this one is that parts of the movie, like the prints, were like lost. So like I think like 75% of it's in HD, but then there are some parts of the film that kind of got lost, so they had to put in there like not HD footage to kind of make sure it was the most complete version of it. And it didn't really take away from the movie or anything like that, but that's one thing I did want to mention with this. But this is basically about this guy. It's a standalone Puppet Master movie that doesn't really have anything to do with the other ones, like the same characters or anything. But this is the guy who finds the puppets in this one, and he's kind of like using the puppets in his show, and he has kind of like a freak show. People kind of come and watch the puppets perform, the puppets from the past films, and he ends up hiring this kid to kind of work for him and help him out doing like carvings, and because the guy is trying to make his own puppets like with the technology from these puppets that he's discovered. And it's kind of like all these, like something really weird and heinous going on that he's kind of like planning with this guy that's working for him. And like the guy starts to like the girl who's working for him, likes the one's daughter, so it's kind of like their relationship. I don't know, I like this one. Like I said, it's a total standalone movie, and like I like the aspect of it, being set in this kind of small kind of freak show kind of thing that they put on. I think this is actually a pretty cool one. Like I said, too, this is definitely the one I remember seeing first when this first came out. The next one here from Breaking Glass Pictures, this is a pretty good movie. It's called Lake Alice, and this is about a family that's going to the middle of the mountains for Christmas, and the one daughter is bringing along her boyfriend, and kind of like meeting the parents for the first time. They're all staying up there, and you see in the beginning of the movie, though, this one girl who's leaving a bar gets kind of pulled under the car. You don't know what happens to her. And this is basically like a home invasion type film about this family, though, that ends up going to this cabin. And then, something ends up happening, and someone's kind of like, it's got sort of like a Strangers kind of vibe to this one. It's got some twists and stuff in it. I feel like one aspect of it you kind of find out a little early on with like a twist aspect to it a little bit. But still, I thought this was actually a pretty cool movie, and it's basically them trying to survive while someone is trying to come after them, and they're all wearing these kind of like sock-type weird ski masks in it. And I liked it too because it was all set like at Christmas time, and like it all set out in the snow. Definitely a cool setting here. But I liked this one. It was actually a pretty good home invasion one of the better home invasion movies in a long time. And the next one from Umbrella Entertainment. This one is a region-free release, so all of these Umbrella Entertainment ones are region-free, so you can play these ones in the U.S. anywhere. And this is a movie called The Devil's Backbone. This is a Guillermo del Toro film. He did this one, like, I think it was a little bit after Mimic. It was a movie that he did in Spanish, was another one of these really creepy movies. I remember seeing this one when this first came out. I think it released in 2001 or 2001, and I remember like getting like terrified from this one. This was one of those ones that like I remember having like really bad dreams from. There's like very seldom are there movies where I actually have like things that really creep me out, and there's some like certain movies like I was talking about earlier, Session 9. There's certain ones that really do truly creep me out. This is one of those ones that I remember really creeping me out bad, and it's all set with this kid going to this orphanage, because his parents died, and he's like, it's all set during the war, and it's in this weird kind of orphanage place out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they start like he starts seeing this really weird kid, and like things are happening to people, and he's trying to figure out exactly who is this kid and why is he seeing them, and he's seeing all these weird things. It's an extremely creepy movie, especially this kid that's popping up in this area, and it's just a really dark, gloomy movie. I always really like this movie. Has on here though a commentary track with the director on here, behind the scenes featurette, trailer, video prologue, a gothic horror featurette on here. This movie also is definitely kind of like because he hasn't done a movie like this in a long time, but then he did Crimson Peak. This is kind of in the same style as his like Crimson Peak, like gothic horror movies. He's really, really good at these kind of films. Really love this one. It was cool to see this one again. The next one here from Umbrella Entertainment as well, and this is another one, like I said, is region free, so anyone can watch this one. This is a movie called Rough Stuff, and this is like a kind of like a treasure hunting kind of movie about these group of these, it's sort of like a treasure hunting. It's these people that are kind of like activists that find out about this mine that's going to be drilled out in the middle of this area in Australia. And they're kind of them drilling for gold out there, and they're like unhappy about them doing it in the area that it is, so they end up finding these guys who are kind of like nomads that drive around these trucks, and they kind of don't really have a whole lot to do, you know, so they kind of are just sort of screwing around, and they end up hiring these guys to take them out there to kind of get to the area, because they have to go through this like really rugged type area to get to it, because it's in like the middle of nowhere, and it's like roads that aren't finished, and people haven't been in years, and it's kind of them going out there, and they're like, if you help us get out there, well, you can try and get this gold that they're out there trying to dig for, and you can steal it, but we just want to get out there and stop it. And the guys that are driving them were like, well, not sure if that's really true what they're saying, or if they actually want the gold themselves. But it's like a whole like adventure type movie about them trying to get out there. Pretty fun movie, and it has on here though a commentary track with the director on here, as well as a making of, and as well as some deleted scenes, a blooper reel, a thing on here about testing the miniatures, a bunch of features on this one. On this one here, and I think I saw this one years back, and it's a movie called Terminal Island. This is around the time when they were doing a lot of these sort of like women in prison type movies, and like sort of Women in Prison came a little bit after that, but it was a lot of those kind of movies like in like camps and like and like jail type settings, and like jails out in like kind of the middle of the woods and stuff. This is also around the time they did the movie Papillon as well, and this is basically about it's like in the future, like there's no jail anymore really, and no death penalty, and they kind of just like set prisoners out in the middle of nowhere to kind of live on their own, and they kind of just like live on this kind of small island area, and it's kind of them out there having their own community, and they having to get their own food, and they're all having all kind of arguments with each other. It's about a new woman who ends up coming there to be a prisoner, and all the men there are really controlling to the women, and there's all these kind of terrible things happening there, and it's kind of like revolting, and they're trying to like protect the women. So, like the woman that comes there is trying to like get a group together to help the other women, because they're all being attacked by these guys. A crazy movie. Really, really good music in this one as well. But I really like this one. Like I said, I believe I saw this one years back, and I can't remember how long ago it was. It was a very long time ago, but a pretty cool one. One of the better of these type of films. The next one here from Wild Eye Releasing is a movie called Thorn, and this I think was technically like, you don't have to have seen the first one, but I think this is sort of a sequel, because I think there was a movie before this that was kind of the same character, but I think this might have been like a sequel sort of remake, and it's basically though about a group of these people who are, it's kind of like a character sort of like a Jason, like a Hatchet kind of character, Victor Crowley kind of character, who's going and like attacking these kids, and it's basically about the kids that kind of survived this attack, and they end up, from this, the one is kind of like getting haunted by the whole attack, and it kind of starts in the beginning with them trapping the killer now, and they're trying to, figure out exactly how they're going to kill this guy so he doesn't come back anymore and come back and haunt them anymore and haunt their lives. So it's kind of them like trying to do this, and also it's cutting back and forth to how they ended up escaping from him and the encounter that they had. And there's also some really cool, crazy, like old school deaths in here. There's definitely some really cool, like, death scenes in this one. But it has on here a making of documentary, as well as some trailers on this one. This one here, and I don't know if this had ever been released before or not, and I think this was made in 2007, and I don't know if it had ever come out to DVD in the past or not. It's a movie called Harvest Moon, and it's all set in an apple orchard. It's basically about somebody is killing people out in this apple orchard, because this one girl is like kind of has her friends come out there to help her with like keeping up the orchard and like picking the apples and like getting everything together. And of course though, when they're out there, somebody is like going and killing them off out there. It's just like a really creepy kind of like I don't know what you would say, like, because I haven't really ever seen any other movies with that kind of setting, like in an apple orchard. That's what kind of made this one different, because it's definitely like not a setting that I've really seen before, you know, because I don't feel like that's really ever really been shot at much before, at least that I can think of, where it's all like in an apple orchard and they're like picking the apples and all getting killed out there. And there is some pretty crazy deaths in here as well. I like this one just because it was kind of different and I hadn't really ever seen, you know, a movie with that kind of setting. This one here, I didn't know a lot about this one going into this one, and this is from Squared, and it's a movie, and it's an anthology movie called Monster X. And this was actually a really fun anthology movie, because it was like this couple going on their first date to a movie theaters, and they're going to see these films, like these horror films. It's kind of like a horror film, like movie night, when they're playing a bunch of different like horror shorts. And then what ends up happening though is like it cuts back and forth between them seeing the movie and then seeing the shorts, and then like between each short though something ends up happening to them, like kind of like a creature, or there's like a killer coming after them, so they're kind of like running around throughout the movie theaters with somebody coming after them. There's like a vampire in there, there was like a Jason kind of guy, a bunch of different ones in there, and they're kind of having to try and survive their first date with these ones coming after them. And I like too, because there's one segment too when it's like they're in the movie theaters, then it cuts to a segment that's in a theaters, like a short film in a movie theaters. That was probably my favorite one, with the one in the movie theaters, because it was like it had Leslie Eastbrook, and there was kind of them going, these kids that wanted to go to this movie theaters, and they're like, no kids allowed, now you have to have these tickets. And I think it was this one girl, and then like you see, it's really crazy too, because they're all in there eating like barbecue ribs and stuff in the movie theaters. Like I never saw movie theaters where they had like barbecue ribs. Like they've had food, but never like they're all like pounding ribs and stuff, and then something bad ends up happening, like what these people are all doing in there. But I enjoyed this one. There was some actually pretty decent segments in here, and all the segments were really pretty good. It's actually, you know, it's like a quick watch as well. It was only like 70 minutes or so, but definitely to me, I thought this was actually a really fun movie. And the last one here from Bullfrog Films, a movie called Plastic Paradise: The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And I had heard of this garbage patch before, and it's basically talking about you know, plastic ends up all ending up in this area in the Pacific, and it's a documentary kind of about how plastic never really breaks down, and this woman who's doing the documentary wants to go to the actual area to see if she can find this garbage island with all the stuff. And it's not really like actually trash like you see on the surface. It's all the trash is kind of under the water at the bottom, and then it kind of washes up in this area in Hawaii. I think it's sort of Hawaii is where it was, an area, and like it kind of, all this trash is washing up, and it's all kind of about the whole problem about plastic not breaking down, and then like getting fish is swallowing it, and then the whole thing like kind of talking about how, like, because I'm pretty sure like as long as you recycle you won't run into these problems, but it's like if you don't, and like if you threw things into the ocean and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of just sort of talking about the whole thing about, you know, plastic and how it never breaks down and stuff. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.